Good. All right. So, and by the way, once we start producing the episode, we'll have an intro, we'll have music, we have sponsors, we have a whole thing. But for now,
Amazing.
we're just going to dive right into the interview, and it'll look and sound a lot better once it's all finished. But
Cool.
for now, we'll just have fun. So let me get your information. Okay, I'm going to jump. And you prefer Randy, I'm assuming.
Randy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so because I saw that everywhere. Oh no, I found it. We're good. Okay, here we go. Okay. Today on the show, my guest is Randy Baruh from the Corcoran Group in New York City. Let me tell you more about Randy. Now, with over 20 years of experience as a New York City real estate professional, Randy Baruh enjoys a proven record of sales success and lasting relationships with the people he has helped over the course of his career. Now, whether they are looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest, Randy's attention to detail and dedication to his clients' needs have enabled him to consistently exceed their expectations. Randy's passion for real estate is fueled by his love of New York City, its history, architecture, and distinctive culture. He's also an avid traveler with a large global network of real estate professionals and investors who call upon him for his expert advice and knowledge of the New York City residential market. Now, Randy was born in San Francisco, but moved to Manhattan after receiving a Master's of Fine Arts from Carnegie Mellon University, where he spent his final semester studying in Moscow, Russia. Randy enjoys exploring New York City restaurants, museums, and parks with his family, is a member of Corcoran Cares and the Real Estate Board of New York. Please learn everything about Randy at his website, which is baruhteam.com. That's BARUH team.com. By the way, we will have links to all of Randy's social media accounts and his website in our show notes. But if you wanted to visit baruhteam.com, also please follow him on Instagram and YouTube. You can find him both places, which at Randy Baruh, and also on TikTok, where he is just crushing it right now, which is at Randy_Baruh. Again, the links to those are in our show notes. Randy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you.
I'm excited to chat with you as well. You will be our first TikTok agent. And I know you're not
Wow.
necessarily a TikTok agent, but somebody who's doing well on TikTok. And we've done 500 some episodes, so this is a really fun one for us. But before we get to today, let's go all the way back to the beginning, and I'd love to hear about why you got into real estate, how you got into real estate, and
Great.
what that process was like for you.
Amazing. So thanks again for having me. I am excited to be here. I got my real estate license in August of 2000. So that's almost 23 years ago. I cannot believe it. Moved to New York in 1996 after receiving my Master's of Fine Arts degree from Carnegie Mellon and the Moscow Art Theater School in acting. So I came to New York, and I'm getting these dings from these messages. Let me turn that
What
off.
was the intention to be an actor? That was the path
Yeah,
you
the
were.
intention was to be an actor, but I immediately started directing plays, and I adapted this play from this Russian novella about a stray dog who gets turned into a man by this mad scientist and runs around the city killing cats. And that play won a number of awards. And at the time, I was working for different Broadway producers who encouraged me to get rid of my admin job, helping them do their creative endeavors and working on their shows and just to pursue my own dreams. And so for my day job, I went and got my real estate license. There were a couple other actors that I had worked with and directed in plays who just got their real estate licenses. And so I got my real estate license. And this was in 2000. So I think I was like 29, almost 30 years old. And I started working with a friend who was an actress who was one of the creators of this musical called the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, which is ran on
Yeah.
Broadway, won some
Oh
Tony
yeah, that was a
Awards,
big
and is
one. Yeah.
being produced all over. And I had a theater company with her and a couple other people who created that show, including this guy, Dan Fogler, who's an actor. He's on all the Fantastic Beasts and Where They Come From movies. He played Francis Ford Coppola in The Offer. It was recently on Paramount Plus. He's an amazing guy, great actor. And so we have this theater company. And when I wasn't directing plays, I was teaching. I was also walking dogs. I was also doing coaching for actors, and I was running around all over New York City, renting the least expensive apartments and that you could actually ever find, all from down in the East Village and the Lower East Side, all the way up to 214th Street in Harlem.
Wow.
And I directed a lot of plays between 2000 and I would say 2008. I probably directed 30 shows. I
Wow.
worked with actors like Jessica Chastain in her final show at Juilliard. I worked. She was in the same class as Michael Urie, who's now on a show on HBO. Um, they worked together, and I directed them in their final show at Juilliard. Directed Jeremy Strong, who's one of the lead actors in Succession, in his first professional play in New York, as well as a couple other shows, and some other amazing actors who've gone on to win Tonys, Emmys, and Oscars.
Wow.
And that was kind of what I was doing while I was renting these tiny little apartments. And eventually, I didn't have to walk the dogs or teach in the elementary schools, and I was really only directing. And then when I finished a show, then I'd go back to real estate and make a bunch of money doing that.
Sure.
It was really fun. It was a great lifestyle. I got to set my own hours. I enjoyed exploring the city and finding my way into a lot of these incredible apartments. And sorry about that. I'm gonna turn my. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. Um, Sorry for these technical difficulties here. Um, I'm a real estate agent, not the greatest computer guy. So let me just, as we're paused here, I'm just going to turn this off. Turn off.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
really lucky. So my office here or our office here, the company office is actually just down the street from the Steppenwolf Theater here in Chicago. So we're very, very fortunate to be that close to the greatness of Steppenwolf. And my coworker who actually
That's
sits behind me is a big Steppenwolf guy, and so he goes to see a lot of. We both go to see quite a few productions.
Oh, that's amazing. I love the Steppenwolf Company. I follow them. I've never been to Chicago, but definitely, all the incredible actors who've come out of there. And
Yeah,
so just to get back on track, so I was directing plays and I was doing real estate. And after a while, I took a little break from directing shows and tried to save up a bunch of money. And went full into real estate. Didn't really do anything else. I spent like 6 months just trying to save up as much as I can. And
sure.
I was renting, I rented about 100 apartments
Wow.
that year.
That.
And
By the way, can I
really,
pause? Can I pause you
yeah,
for a second?
sure.
Because New York City rentals are very different from most other cities where, and I don't know that this was the case in all of 100 rentals, but I'm sure it was at least some of them. Whereas in most cities, the landlords or the management companies or the owners of the property pay commissions. But in New York, it's not uncommon that the tenant actually pays the realtor commission. Was that the case for a certain percentage of your? By the
Yeah,
way,
the
that just seems like that's a difficult thing to ask for, at least for all of us that don't ever have to ask that question of our renters. So
right.
my hat's off to you because that is a tough one.
Yeah. So in New York City, the tenants always paid the commission at that
Right.
time. I worked with about 10 landlords that between them owned about 2,000 buildings,
Wow.
and we didn't co-broke at all. We only did we only worked with ourselves, and so the landlords didn't want us to co-broke, and
Sure.
they didn't ever want to pay the fee, so we only charged the tenants the fee. So I
Wow.
would show we had about 350 units at that time. Can you hear these dings?
No, no, we can't hear them. So you're
Oh,
good.
you can't hear them, so it's just
No, no,
me.
you're
Oh,
totally
thank
good.
God. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is insane."
You're a
My
busy
wife
realtor. You
keeps
get lots of
texting
dings.
me.
That's what
It's my
happens.
wife at this point. But so I had about 350 vacancies at any given time, and I would, if someone didn't like apartment number one, I'd have two, three, four, and five to show them. Then eventually, one of them they would love. I would take them to the bank. This is what we used to be able to do in these days. We can't do this, and we don't do this today. But I'd take them to the bank. I'd have them fill out an application. I would take a deposit, I would write them a receipt, and I would take the apartment off the market for them, and the apartment would basically be theirs. And then I would take them to like a cookie place and get them some cookies. I did that for about 8 years,
Wow.
renting between 120 to 150 apartments a year.
That's amazing.
And it was like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, waking
Mhm.
up and pounding the pavement. I never went into the office except when I needed to hand in commission checks. And it
Right.
was it was really fun. I remember those days as just a great time. I still stayed connected to all of my theater and entertainment folks and started then helping them find apartments to rent and eventually to buy. And, it was nice because I was able to make a living, to pay my rent, to not stress out about, where the next utilities bill is going to come from. I started out like crashing on a friend's house, on a friend's couch in Hoboken, New Jersey, after I broke up with my girlfriend in downtown New York and didn't have a place to live. So all my stuff was in a Manhattan mini storage, and I would commute into the city. I would go to the Manhattan mini storage. I would get in my dog walking attire. I'd walk the dogs, then I'd go back into my real estate showing attire. I'd show apartments all over the city. And eventually I saved enough money to get my own apartment. I was sleeping on the floor in a sleeping bag until I rented enough apartments to get a bed. Then I got a
Wow.
bed. That was like a huge improvement. Um, and uh, and I just really like was tired of the ups and downs of a theater career. It's a very much a feast and or famine type of career, and just hyper focused when I was working on a play. It was my life. I couldn't think of anything else like that I was supposed to do when I was working on a show. But then the show would be over and I would come back to reality and think, "Oh my god, like how am I going to pay my rent now?" And I would be freaking out and have to run out and rent a bunch of apartments really fast. So that lifestyle wasn't really great for my anxiety levels. Funnily
Sure.
enough, the crazy world of real estate is fine for my anxiety levels.
Oddly enough, you found the one industry that's more stressful than real estate. And
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the thing is with real estate is I feel like you get as much out of it as you put into it.
right.
With
It's a very
theater and stuff,
fair
you could
fair
put
game.
a million things into it, and there's so many things outside of your competence level or outside of your talent level that play into it.
Sure.
With real estate, I've found I'm a people person and I've always been a people person. I love working with people, helping people. I love the city. I like transacting, I like negotiating, and I'm able to bring a creativity to it. So I'm still able to bring that part of myself to my job. And so I've just found like if I take that exact same work ethic of being able to pour myself into my work and enjoy it, that I'm able to kind of reap a reward. The more people you help, the more people you're able to have a positive impact in. Word spreads, and business kind of comes back to you. Um, so so yeah. So it eventually, after about 8 years, I met my wife. Um, and I decided that, with her encouragement, that let's branch out and really focus on sales. Um, where I wouldn't have to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week, pounding the pavement. I still do work 12 hours days, 7 days a week, but I'm not like pounding the streets of New York showing apartments for 12 hours a day. A lot of my work is on my phone. A lot of my work is from the office. I do open houses every Sunday. My team, we do get rentals. I'll work on Saturdays as well, but it's a different lifestyle. It's a more predictable lifestyle. It's a more manageable lifestyle than, when I was renting apartments. These were $800 a month studios, $1,000 a month one bedrooms, $1,200 a month two bedrooms, and $1,500 a month three bedrooms. So I went and I just went to the bank to get like a new credit card, and I hadn't like on my personal card. I have a business account and different accounts or whatever. But on my personal account, I haven't gotten like a new credit card since I built up my credit. I didn't even have credit when I was came to New York. I had a 570 credit score, and I had to get a secured credit card, and I put my income down as 50,000 a year. So she comes down, she's like, "So what's your income level today?" And she shows me what it was when I first got the card. And I'm like, wow, $50,000 a year. It was just like, that was a whole different lifetime ago. And it was humbling. And I still see myself as that same exact guy. But
Yeah.
now we're selling, 10, 20, $30 million properties, as well as properties in the $300,000, because
Sure.
I still kept that low low budget level business and just expanded to a much higher level business as well. But we do it all on my team. We feel like we want to help our mantra is we want to get every New Yorker a great place to live, no matter their budget, no matter, we really do specialize in Brooklyn and Manhattan. So when I get people looking for in other boroughs, Staten Island or Queens or something like that, I have an amazing referral network that I refer them to if we can't help them. Um, that's like my trajectory. So started
Yeah.
off in 2000 renting these crazy apartments from the East Village up to Harlem, and then in 2008 to 2010 is when things started getting more into the sales, and I came over to Corcoran in 2011.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
quite a story. I love it because you basically grinded it out, and you started with a very difficult task, again, convincing renters to pay you a commission because you had access to these properties, is not an easy thing that most realtors ever have to ask for unless they work in New York. And Boston, I think, is a little bit that way, and there's a few other cities that where it's
New
like, but it's
York is
rare. It is
so yeah,
rare.
New York is so different. I mean,
Yeah.
the tenants pay the commissions when the property sells itself. A
Yeah.
lot of times, especially during the pandemic, we didn't want properties to sit around. And so the landlords would pay a commission for a small period of time. But usually, if the landlord pays the commission here in New York, there's something wrong with the
Right.
property.
There's a reason.
There's a reason. And I mean, I just rented in a townhouse that I put on the market, and I had it on the market for about a week. We did one showing, and the first person to look at it took it. $17,000 a month, and they paid the full commission. Um,
Unbelievable.
yeah, and that was like one day's worth of showings. So it can get very expensive. Um, and it just depends on the price point and what the particular tenant can afford. If
Sure.
we do also list, much lower priced properties. I own some investment properties in a building up on 138th Street, and it's a different economic level of renter. And those renters, sometimes we do still offer, no fee, because someone who's renting a $17,000 a month apartment can afford to pay a fee. Someone
Right.
who's renting
That's
a
true.
$1,500 to $2,000 a month apartment, they're in a different financial
Of
um,
course.
situation. And so, we if you can, and then also I rented something recently, and I don't want to just promote myself as a rental agent. We do
Sure. Of
everything. We
course.
do sales, but we rented something in Waverly Place where a lot of companies will move their employees to New York City and cover the entire moving cost, and that's
Sure.
what happened in that particular situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's a different experience, the rental game in New York. And then to transition from that, which I know a lot of agents get stuck in the rental game because
yeah,
it's so
well,
continuous, and
I
it's
was
so
stuck in it, and I'll say that for those 8 years, because you get paid immediately. You get paid when the lease is signed, and here in New York, we want leases signed within 24 hours of acceptance. So if I show someone a rental property, they want it, I send them a link. Within 24 hours, they're going to apply. If it's a condo or a townhouse, the owner's going to approve them usually within 24 hours. Then we want leases signed within 24 hours of that, and at that point, they're going to submit their rent, security deposit, and broker's fee. With sales, you're getting paid, 90 days from a contract signing. So if you're lucky, you'll sell something within the first 3 months, and then you have 3 more months for the deal to
right.
close to get paid.
Right.
Now, the market, there's not any one, it's hard to say the market here in New York City because each different neighborhood is its own submarket. So I listed a home for sale in Brooklyn Heights. And like I said, I work all over Brooklyn and Manhattan. Brooklyn is very, very hot, and it's been hot for a while. I listed a home for $3.85 million. I did one open house. We had 30 people there. We had 5 offers. Every offer was all cash. The property went into contract a few days later for $4.2 million, and we closed 2 weeks later. Basically,
Amazing.
did one open house for that property and sold for 10% above the asking price. And the whole thing lasted from like mid-January to mid-February, and then it was like pretty much finished. But that's a condo. It's a boutique building. The owner of the property knew the board. They encouraged them to move quickly. Management companies sometimes could take about 7 days to process an application. They may have some questions back and forth. And that was a very, very quick sale transaction. They're not always that way because you're dealing with boards.
Yeah,
Um,
and co-op boards in particular in New York are challenging because oftentimes there's an interview process where even
yeah.
though everything looks good, you still got to win over the board and make
And
sure you don't
sometimes
say
the
or do anything
dog has to
stupid.
win over the board. Sometimes we've been in situations where, co-ops accept pets on a case-by-case basis, and they actually want the dog to come in there and see how friendly the dog
Sure.
is. So you've got to coach your pet on the board interview as well.
The pet's being interviewed. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. My sister had a, well, anyway, I could tell that story later, but my sister had a condo in the West Village, and she had to go in front of the board. I mean, everything went fine, but she
Yeah.
was like, it's a weird experience. And
It
anyway,
is. It's
then
a funny experience.
yeah,
Usually, if you get a board interview, you're pretty much in anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Because if you weren't in, they wouldn't even give you an interview. It's
right,
very rare. I don't think it's ever even happened where I've gotten a buyer on the buyer side into a board interview and something happened and they didn't get it.
right.
Usually, we have a list of top tips for winning a board interview that we provide to every client. And it's very much like, be yourself, don't question the board, just be there for their questions.
Yeah.
Don't offer too much information outside of the questions they ask you, and don't look at it in any sort of like negative way. It's really like we want to meet who our neighbor is going to be
Yeah, yeah.
and get
Be
excited
pleasant,
that
be
you're going to
nice.
move into the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Don't be the person that they go, oh God, that person's going to be a problem.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
don't just talk about all of the work that you're ready to do on your apartment the minute you close, because who knows, that board member that you're sitting across the table from might be your downstairs neighbor.
right.
Just be like, oh, the place is great. We might do a couple little things here and there. The board knows if you're buying an estate sale level property that the person's going to want to do work, or if you're buying a turnkey, pristine apartment, don't talk about how you're going to rip up the floors and put in new floors.
Right.
Just keep it simple, keep it brief, get through it, close, and then do your thing.
Well, you are not only started out as a successful leasing agent in New York and then transitioned to not just being working with buyers and sellers, but working really in the sort of upper levels of luxury properties. But I really don't want to talk as much about that, only because you're also doing something that I have not yet found from one of our guests yet, which I'm really excited to talk about, which is I really want to talk about marketing specifically.
Amazing.
I want to hear about your social media success because, and I just want to reiterate actually, I didn't say this earlier. So Randy has an incredible social media following. And by the way, he's not somebody in his early 20s doing this, right? Where you would expect the kind of numbers I'm about to share with you to be somebody who is just skewing younger. But Randy's actually having this success as a man in his 40s, and so
50s.
I'm sorry, 50s. My apologies.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
I was
50.
Well,
Yeah.
even more impressive. And he has 20,000 Instagram followers, but here's the really amazing 300,000 followers on TikTok. So I would love to talk to you about what the role of social media is in your
Mm,
marketing strategy, how it
great.
works, and how you think it became so effective for you.
Yeah, I love talking about this because this is where I can really bring in my creativity. Because I'm a storyteller, and as we said earlier, I started in the world of theater. I've had the good fortune of being in an amazingly fertile group of creative artists in the early mid 90s here in New York City. Actors who've gone on to win Academy Awards, Emmy Awards, Tony Awards, writers who've won Emmy Awards, nominated for Academy Awards. And I bring a lot of this creativity into my marketing. And so, what we found is creating fun, engaging marketing pieces through video that connect on an emotional level creates a very meaningful connection between myself and potential clients or just audience members. And it's really been effective and it's spread. I always feel like if you build it, they will come. And so we've just put we've leaned into social media as a way of being able to be authentic and show my authentic self to the widest variety of people as possible. So
Now,
in yeah,
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So in January 2021, when we were quarantined during the pandemic, my wife and I started watching this show Emily in Paris, which I don't
Sure.
know if you're familiar. And in January of 2021, I called my assistant. I said, "We need our own Emily in Paris." I don't know how to do all of this TikTok stuff. Instagram, I'm just putting videos of me and my kids. YouTube, I'd make these videos that were great, like short films, and I still do a lot of that. I have some videos. You go onto my YouTube channel at Randy Baruh, and one of my first very creative videos is Meet the Randy Baruh Team, which is a combination. It's like if The Office met Million Dollar Listing with kids.
Oh,
And
that's great.
so I used my son, who's like in an Alex P. Keaton. Sorry for the old fogey
Oh,
Family Ties
I know. I know.
reference,
Yeah, of course.
but it's very much done like an episode of The Office, where we're all talking to the camera, and then the handheld is showing us at our jobs, and then it's like, and this new agent is really doing great, and it like goes to like Max, and he's on the phone, and he's like, "Listen, you want the deal or not?" And it's really, really funny, and that's like a great intro to me and my team and our sense of humor and how much I love the job and stuff like that. And these YouTube videos really started taking a life of their own. And I did this one that looks like a Century 21 commercial from like the late 70s that's in crackling kind of video. And I have this incredible video production company called the Real Estate Production Network that I use. And they really do like the production levels of my videos are very much like a short film. I did one, I had a $10 million townhouse and I hired a Broadway choreographer who I know from when I used to direct at the Williamstown Theater Festival. And I said, I want to do a musical. And so I hired her. She got a body double. And I always like to reference old movies from the 80s and 90s. So this one was like a cross between American Beauty, where you get that
Sure.
scene where Annette Bening is cleaning the house before an
Yeah.
open house. And she's like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will
Yeah. Yeah.
sell this house. And she's
Right.
washing the
And she's in
windows
her
and stuff.
suit and she's
Yep.
cleaning everything. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a cross between that and the beginning of Adventures in Babysitting, when Elizabeth Shue is dancing through her room getting
Yeah.
dressed for a show. So it's basically me dancing through this $10 million house, cleaning the windows, fluffing the pillows, getting it ready, and tap dancing and cartwheeling, and it's amazing. The video is phenomenal. It's won some awards. It was a labor of love, and it's joy. It's just exuding joy, joyfulness, and spreading joyfulness, and it's a wonderful video, and I encourage people to check it out. It's called On My Toes at 311 West Broadway.
We
Um,
we will we will post a link to that in the show notes as well, so everyone can
Great.
watch this because I need to see this. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
So back in 2021, I call my assistant. I'm like, we need an Emily in Paris. We hired this woman, really, really cool lady, and she was like 21 years old. She's like, you got to do TikTok. I'm like, great. So because I've been in the business for so long and I'm fortunate enough to have created really trusting good relationships with agents all over New York City in all price ranges. And Corcoran Sunshine is one of the biggest marketers of new developments in the city. I was able to get access to a $50 million apartment. So 2021, TikTok was still pretty new coming off of the pandemic, especially to people in my age range and especially in real estate. There wasn't a lot of other people doing this. And I came up with this idea. I can like almost like lifestyles of the rich and famous from the 80s, just to
Sure.
open a window into a different world that a lot of people don't get to see on their everyday
Yeah,
lives.
totally.
So I called them up. They gave me access. They allowed me to shoot some video. I said, hey, and the video just starts with me saying, hey, you want to see what a $50 million New York City apartment looks like? Let's go. And
And
it's
by the way
us.
and by the way, who doesn't wanna see what the inside of a $50 million apartment looks like? Everybody wants to see that.
Yeah, everyone wants to see that. So we put it to some really crazy hip hop music that the 20-year-olds like. And I'm a hip hop fan as well. But it's like that video overnight went viral. Now, since then, it's had over 5 million views. And within a week, I had about 90,000 followers. That was my
Wow,
first TikTok video ever. It just went
amazing.
crazy. Then we just expanded it. Like she knew what things to um, highlight, what things not to highlight. Um, she ended up leaving me and going full time to a social media company. And then I got another social media manager, and we did a video on an off market $25 million property. That video went viral. It so far has had 17 million views on TikTok.
Oh my
That
gosh.
went crazy. That then someone memes are asked me if I can post that on their Instagram channel. I said yes. And overnight, I went from 5,000 Instagram followers to 20,000 Instagram followers from that memes are one. So I'll tell you how crazy it is. I was just in London. My wife's English, just like last weekend. We just got back on Sunday, just last Sunday from London. We went there to for a friend's birthday. I'm at this dinner on Friday night. There was about 30 of us at the dinner. And my wife's best friend's nephew and niece were sitting next to me. He's maybe 16, I think he's 17, and the niece was 18 years old. And they're like, oh, what do you do in New York? And I'm like, well, I work in real estate. And we were just like chit-chatting. And it came up, I wanted to impress them because it was like 18-year-old and 17-year-old. I was like,
Sure.
I have a TikTok channel. And they're like, oh, do you? You've got a TikTok channel, do you? Very nice. And I'm like, well, actually, I have about 300,000 followers. And they're like, oh, wow, really? I'm like, told them, I do all these crazy real estate videos. So like, let me look you up. They looked me up and they both follow me. They're like, "Oh my
Amazing.
God, we follow you. Look." And they showed me the video of the 50 million dollar property and the $25 million property. And literally, these two teenagers in London that I had just met at this dinner are followers of mine on TikTok.
Amazing.
Um, and then after that dinner, we went to another friend of my wife's house and we're chit chatting. And I'm telling his 14-year-old son, this 14-year-old daughter and 16-year-old son, the same story. Like, how crazy is it? Like, I'm big with the teenagers in London, and literally the son, the older one, the 16-year-old, also follows me.
Amazing. Isn't
Yeah.
that funny?
So just the reach of TikTok is absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you, it's great because it drives traffic to my Instagram channel. It allows TikTok's fun because I get to be a little bit more irreverent and a little bit sillier because
Yeah.
it skews like 16 to 24
Yeah,
year olds.
lower stakes there. Yeah, for sure.
Right. But the sellers, they love it when I'm pitching a listing
Oh,
that I
sure.
am very adept at reaching wide audiences. I was in New York Magazine in October of 2022 as a real estate influencer. It's brought me to people like yourself, where I've been able to do podcasts and spread my message of how much I love to help people in their real estate journeys. And And I really see no downside to it. People ask me, have you gotten business from TikTok or gotten business from Instagram? Where I can say yes, because I have real estate agents who follow me on these various social media channels on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram who've given me referrals. I just am closing one today from someone from Minnesota. I have another one from Silicon Valley, someone that I'm helping. And so, yeah, absolutely, I've gotten business, but I don't necessarily look at Instagram and TikTok as lead generation tools. I use them as marketing tools. And the marketing helps me get more people to follow me, helps me in my lead generation to the individuals here in New York City who are looking to buy, sell, rent, event, or invest because they see what I'm doing and it adds another level of trust. They
You know,
also
that's
get to
that's
see me being my authentic self, which is important.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. I think number one, of course, your background
Mhm.
and as a creative is gets put to use in a fun way that really allows you to talk to really put these productions on and put them on social media with you get to write the scripts, you get to direct, you get to choreograph, you get to really
Yeah,
make as a director, which is what you are and were. You get to do that again and cast and do all the sort of it's really you're basically doing a very similar thing. But what I love,
honestly, like 17 million views on a video that I created. I mean, I don't know what television show I can
yeah,
create and put on a TV channel and get 17 million viewers on it. I just came to the understanding, and I was meeting and talking with a real estate agent who is on a number of these reality shows and stuff, and really liked the person, and we had a great synergy. Unfortunately, it ended up not working out. It wasn't really the right thing, the right time, and we couldn't really figure out the best deal. But I thought to myself, you know what? I could create my own stuff. I could create my own shows. I have through social media. There's billions of people out there who are interested in looking at the lifestyles of properties in New York City, and I have a budget from Corcoran, and I have a budget. I enhance that out of pocket, and I could create these little 30-second to 2 minute to 5 minute little vignettes that are entertaining. And, I love entertaining people. I love making them
yeah,
smile. I love, being on camera and being in front of people. That's just part of my personality. I'm like an extrovert introvert in that way.
yeah.
But it's really allowed me to do, enjoy myself and entertain people at the same time, grow my business. So,
Yeah, I love one thing that you said that even sort of surprised me because I'm so conditioned when I have guests on who talk about social media in particular. It's all about how it drives business, right? And you were like, "Well, yes, I'm sure it does," but that's number one. That's not really why I do it. It's more about my overall marketing strategy because yes, maybe there aren't a lot of people who are buying $20 million homes who are looking for their agent on TikTok. However, somebody in their orbit might watch this video, or they might watch this video, they might get a little chuckle, and then because of how successful the videos are, other outlets are going to pick up on how successful you are being on these social platforms, and they're writing about you. Mentioned being in magazine and also winning awards and
yeah,
all of those things. It's all about, we're really, what we're talking about is branding, and
yeah,
you're getting to do something that I think most realtors don't allow themselves to do, which is to be silly, to be fun, to be fun. I mean, even if we look at, the photos that realtors use that are oftentimes 15 years old, they don't even have fun with their photos. And
yeah, yeah,
it's a
yeah.
very buttoned down kind of world. And you're doing, more of who you authentically are. And it's
Exactly.
certainly not hurting any part of your business either. In fact, it's helping, and your reach is insane. And
Yeah,
yes,
and I'm able to share my knowledge. So we
yeah,
do. I work with a great social media strategist, Kim Ripberg of Henry Street Media, who we discussed, and she did a deep dive into all of my social media platforms, and we discussed what's working, what's not working, what we could do more of, what we could do less of, And so we temper a lot of these fun videos with educational videos where I could talk about things that are really important to buyers, sellers, renters, and investors right now. And we're working, we're going through a very complicated, complex, interesting, exciting time with the economy, in real estate, in finance. And it's important to share, my expertise, my knowledge, my take on things in order to help people as well. So video is an incredibly effective way to reach people without having to get in the same room with them. It's
Right.
really hard, like getting into the same room with a lot of people. But I could text them a video of how I do my marketing. I could text them a video of how I market a property, or text them a video of me talking about, you know, how to be effective in a multiple bid situation on a buy side or a sell side. And
Or
now I
or
don't even have,
even or even to talk, and apologize for interrupting, but I
yeah,
say,
no,
or even right now, again at the time of this taping, maybe this will be a distant memory, but maybe not. But talking about, hey, the banks, we've had 3 bank failures in the U.S. right now, and
yeah.
and there's now discussion about how that may in fact impact lending rates, and again, I know a lot of the space that you play in, loans aren't as maybe as common, although I'm
No, no,
sure
they
they
are.
are.
They're very common. I mean, we do a lot of cash deals. We do a ton of financing deals, of course, and real estate, and this is me coming from a real estate guy, that's one thing that I can understand. To me, stocks, I don't have a great understanding of stocks. Like, I don't have a great understanding of things that I can't look at and touch. When I am looking at a home, I can go in it. I know that I can rent it. I know that I can do a lot of things with this property. And so, as a matter of fact, earlier today, we just had an inspection on an investment property that I'm buying in Pennsylvania, because I'm feeling like, what do I want my money sitting in a bank right now? Better to put it in a property where I can get a rent. People will always need a place to live. Rents might
and
go up,
and a
rents might go
K1
down.
every year
Yeah,
to help. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And so, there's, to me, in my experience of 23 years of doing this, real estate's always been, if you understand it, if you have a good, advice from a financial manager, from a CPA, and a great real estate agent, it's always been a very good place to put your money. And again, you could look at it, you could fix it up, you can add value to it. There's a ton of things, and there's tax benefits to it as well. So, the video stuff it's one thing to have all the fun, which I love doing. And again, like when I meet someone, let's say I'm cold calling someone or prospecting on the phone, I'm calling a past client, or I'm calling a place in my geographic farm, they might not read all my postcards. They might not pick up the phone every time I call, but if I text them a video that's 30 seconds long, they're probably going to look at it. But you know what? We do all three. So I'm sending a postcard with a QR code that links to the video that takes them to my website. Then I'm taking that same video, I'm dividing it up into 30-second snippets,
You're
and
clipping
then
it out. Yeah.
yeah, and clipping that out on my social media. And then everything then comes back to the property if I'm selling that property. So all of that helps the property's SEO, which will push it higher in a Google search. And so, we do it all. We do print, we do video, we do digital ads, we have our website. I pick up the phone and call, and everything is connected and everything links together so that we're really, reaching people everywhere where they're looking and where they're seeing. And it's a great way for them to get to know me, because
Right.
someone, you call someone up, they're at work, they might not have 10 minutes or even 5 minutes to like chit chat with you and get to know you on the phone. But then when
Right.
I shoot them a text and I say, hey, this is Randy from the Corcoran Group, it was such a pleasure chatting with you, Please give me a ring whenever you're free. Then they can see my face, they can hear my voice. It's a bit of a different connection. And so
Quick question with the text videos, only because our audience was going to email me afterwards and say, why didn't you ask this? Are you using like BombBomb or Loom to make those videos, or are you just doing those natively through your phone? Or
yeah, I used to use BombBomb, and I still have an account with BombBomb. I don't use BombBomb as much because I'm able to do it in other ways. So sometimes I'll just send them a text directly.
sure,
Um, I use MailChimp for my newsletters, and there's videos on all my MailChimp. I like driving people to my website because I'm able to capture a lot of their information when they go on my website. So when I'm sending a postcard, we'll use a QR code that links to my website. I don't even use business cards anymore. I use this flow code. So I
yeah,
have flow code just on my phone. And whenever I'm meeting people at a convention or on the street or wherever, and they're like, do you have a card? I'm just like, just take a picture of my flow code.
yeah, yeah,
Then my contact information comes up with links to all of my different social media channels. And it's much better than always remembering a card. I do have one card that I carry around with my flow code on the back too. And if someone
sure.
wants a card, then I give them that card. I'll put a
Yeah.
couple more cards in my wallet as well. But
Randy, I have to say, from it's funny. Your energy is not only infectious, but I will tell you the sort of the vibe I'm getting, and I don't even like that word, but it's an embarrassing word that I wish I had a better word for. But the energy that I'm getting from you is you really enjoy your business, and you get to be creative, you get to do fun things on social media, and so you get to be entertaining on social media and educational, so you get to sort of do both. If you want to be silly and put together a fun musical, you could do that, a short musical.
yeah,
Or if you want to talk about, hey, here's what's happening in the market right now that you should be aware of, or hey, you want to see what the inside of this fancy place, you get to have a lot of fun, but you're also still grinding it out in the
yeah.
business, because that's the business. So it seems like you have all these marketing channels working for you. You're hitting people in all mediums. You're hitting them with mailers. You're hitting them with texts, video, social media, your website, and you're just. It seems like you're just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun. It's always something different. I have an awesome team. We have an operations manager. We have two junior agents. We have a marketing assistant who's also going to be a new junior agent. We have a social media manager. It's really fun dealing with all of these great people who kind of help make the magic happen. And also, I just love helping people. Back when I was doing the theater stuff, I loved working with actors. I enjoyed being a director more than being an actor, because being a director, you're responsible for a lot of people's success, or
Yeah,
you're responsible for helping them be the best versions of themselves, and getting their own success, right? And taking people in a certain direction, taking the audience on a journey, taking the actors and the designers, and these amazing individuals who've put their faith in you on a journey to a successful place. And I see my work in real estate in very much the same way. When I'm hired by a seller, I'm given a task to help them realize their dreams, with the sale of this property or with the purchase of this property. There's a lot of pressure on us as real estate professionals to help the process go smoothly. My wife's English. I just said this to someone yesterday. My mantra is like from Queen Elizabeth: keep calm and carry on.
yeah,
Let everybody do their thing, but I'm the calming factor in the situation. And and I love negotiating. I mean, that's fun too. And because I grinded it out so hardcore in my early years, I have that grinding mentality. I mean, if
yeah,
you're trying to make it in New York in anything,
right,
especially acting, directing, writing,
right,
the creative arts, you've got to grind it out. If you're getting into real estate, a lot of these real estate shows, they make it seem so easy, but they make it seem so easy because the people on these shows have already reached a level in their careers that allowed them to be on the show and make it look easy. The behind the scenes is like a little hamster in a wheel, like running,
yeah,
running, running. That's like
yeah,
going on inside me, like all the time.
sure.
And And it's tough. It takes work. You don't get paid right away in sales, and you've got
Right.
to constantly be looking in all directions. Every single day I come to the office and we're like, okay, how many people can I call today? How many appointments can I make today? How many New Yorkers can I help today? It's not like, oh, I have a bunch of deals in the pipeline or in contract, and now I'm ready to go like buy a bunch of fancy shit that nobody needs.
Right.
Like
No, you're still the guy. You're still the guy on the couch or on the floor going, I got to make this work. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to work as hard as
yeah,
I can. And you have that mentality. And
yeah.
that is an
Well, we
amazing
have a
thing
lot
to
of people that
it's a gift.
depend. Yeah, I have a lot of people that depend on me. I mean, I look at, the brokers, the agents that work on my team, not as how much money can they make me, but like how much money can I make them? That I want to feed them as much, give them as many tools, feed them as much business, help them become successful, or else number one, they're just going to leave me.
Right.
And number two, it's just not who I am. Like I'm here to make them the best versions of themselves. I love coaching. I want to help them. If I help them be great, it's just going to come back to me. I have my kids. I have my wife. I have this whole community of clients that are depending on me to not take my foot off the gas.
Yeah.
Now, I have fun. I like to go on vacations. I like to ski. I like to sit out at a beach. But I'm the guy who's on the beach still looking on my phone answering emails. I'm the guy in the chairlift who's still looking on my phone and answering emails. Not and it's not like, oh God, I've got to do this
No,
now.
you want
But
to.
it's like if I don't do this, then Mr. and Mrs. Smith aren't going to be able to like move to Florida. And that's like
Right.
important for me.
Yeah.
I feel responsible for them. And so it's that emotional connection. I could do a deal and get paid a massive fee, but if my clients aren't happy, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's like
Yeah.
I'm happy that I get to pay my rent and help my kids go to camp or whatever. Of course, that's a necessity. But it's it doesn't feel as good if the person that I'm helping doesn't smile at the end and know that we
Yeah.
went through something important together. And not that I need the appreciation at all. I just want them happy.
Yeah, well, getting the appreciation is just validation that you met someone else's needs and you took care of them in the
Yeah,
and that's your responsibility, and you
yeah,
take that
yeah.
very seriously, and you also get to have fun on the side,
Exactly.
meaning all your marketing and your branding efforts, your personal stuff that you do with your
Yeah.
family.
We had the
It's
best time yesterday. I was in Dumbo with my social media manager, and we were touring this penthouse that is just the most spectacular views. Um, just unbelievable views. Absolutely, this beautiful penthouse. And then we were walking around Dumbo. It was a beautiful day. My social media manager was asking me questions, kind of like this: How did I get involved in real estate? What advice do I have to buyers and sellers, and
yeah,
whatnot? And then I'm like, let's go to the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory and get some ice cream. We've got to get this place. This is a great business. I love highlighting local businesses all around New York. And so she's then asking me questions as I'm in line getting ice cream. And then we're walking around and I'm answering questions walking on the Brooklyn Heights Promenade with the entire view of
yeah,
Manhattan in the
yeah.
background.
Not
And
a
I'm like
bad place
eating
to be.
pistachio. It was like this perfect moment
Yeah,
where
what a New
I'm
York
just
moment.
like, I'm so lucky. Thank God that I'm able to do something that I enjoy, that I'm able to help people, and then I'm able to, make a difference in some people's lives at a intense time. Yeah.
I have one last question for you, because we of course know that everybody struggles, everyone has challenges, everybody makes mistakes as
Yeah.
well. And it's for the first 4 years of me doing this show, I never asked this question because it didn't occur to me, and then I realized, oh, sometimes it's good to identify where people struggle, right? And even somebody like you who's had this amazing success that you've created, that you are responsible for, and you get all of that credit. I am curious, what is a mistake that either you made earlier in your career, maybe you're making it now, or something that just isn't yet perfect, just so that our audience knows Randy's a real guy and still
That's
struggles
a
like
hundred
everybody
percent.
else.
I struggle all the time. Like I was never diagnosed with ADHD because they did not do that in my day. They just told me I was a dreamer.
Yeah.
Randy, you're always freaking
He can't pay
daydreaming.
attention.
Yeah, you can't pay attention. You can't focus.
Right.
So, mistakes would come if I am just kind of all over the place, right? It's hard for me to focus on a task for more than a certain period of time before my attention goes to all these other places. And so that's something that I've struggled with, that I continue to struggle with literally every single day. And so one way to kind of ameliorate that defect, or that whatever in my personality, my difficulty in kind of that hyper, if I'm into something,
You
the
hyper
certain
focus.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, I hyper focus. Like
Yeah.
if it's doing a bunch of paperwork or writing a listing description, it's really hard for me. So I found amazingly talented people to delegate some of these responsibilities to. I think a lot of real estate agents, they want to do everything themselves.
Sure.
Some things I'm better at than others. Some things I'm worse at than others. I'm not good at the paperwork, the admin tasks. I'll procrastinate on a lot of that stuff. I'm very detail oriented. So if we're talking about applications or board packages, when I had to do it all myself, I'd hyper focus on it. But then, it's hard for me now. So I'm able to say, you know what, Randy, you've got to give up some of this control. You've got to let other people who love that kind of stuff do that kind of stuff. And it's hard to find great people.
Yeah.
And plus, with real estate agents, again, I feel like a lot of real estate agents they don't look at the big picture. They look at each different commission check and feel like they need to get all of the money, right? They need to get as much of that commission check as possible. But real estate, I've found we have a pretty good margin. Like the money that I put into my marketing is not 30% of what I'm getting at that commission. And when I was working for Broadway producers, they 30% of their budget is like getting butts in seats,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
So I feel like, I invest a lot more in my business than I think a lot of other brokers invest in their business, simply because I'm looking at my business like a business.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to always come at things from a perspective of abundance rather than a perspective of scarcity. That, you know what? I have deals right now in the pipeline. I have listings right now on the market, and I have certain things in contract. But that only takes me down a certain amount of months. I
Right.
don't know what the hell I'm doing in November. I don't know. What new listings am I going to list in October? I don't know, right? I have listings coming on the market through the spring, a couple things maybe in the summer, but beyond that, I don't know. But guess what? I've been doing this a while now, and I've learned that, you know what? It will come. Put
Yeah.
yourself out there, talk to people, be a member of your community, give back, and it will come. Come from a place of abundance. And so, I don't know how I got there from my inability to focus, but it was, hiring people. Agents need to hire an assistant, get an assistant. You're going to be able to do more of what you're great at if you can
Yeah.
hire an assistant to pick up the things that you're not great at. Don't do everything yourself, because you're going to make more mistakes and you're going to not have as much fun.
Yeah.
And, don't look at things from scarcity. If you've been in the business for a while, lean into your community, trust the people that you've helped over the course of your career. If you're new in the business, okay, don't blow all of your first commission on marketing. Take a third of it, put it in your savings account. Take a third of it, put it in an account just to run your business. Take a third of it and put it towards taxes, right?
Yeah.
If you can just divide your checks into thirds like that, you'll start building your savings, you'll start building your tax savings, and you'll always know that, you know what, this account is to run my business, and I'm going to use it to run my business. I'm not just going to go out and buy crazy stuff or go out to fancy dinners or whatever, but go step by step by step and hire great people to pick up those tasks that you're not great at, and your business will flourish, I think.
Perfectly said, and a great place to wrap up. I want everyone who's listening to, if you have any clients that are moving to the New York City area, Randy and his team would love the opportunity to, or you may be a buyer or seller yourself. I suspect we have some listeners who aren't real estate professionals. So if you have somebody who's either moving there as an agent, or somebody who is maybe looking to move to the area themselves, Randy and his team would love the opportunity. Again, all price points welcome. Reach out to Randy. Go to baruhteam.com, BARUH team.com. And we're going to have links to this all in the show notes. Please follow Randy on his social media channels. They are for Instagram and YouTube. It's Randy Baruh, just one name. I'll again links to these in the show notes as well. And his big TikTok success, Randy_Baruh. Again, we'll have those links there for you. And we'll have links to some of Randy's most popular videos so you can see what a former theater director does with his productions, because boy, I can't wait to see these. I'm really excited to. And also, on behalf of everyone that's listening, we want to thank Randy for his time today. He's a busy guy. He's running a team. He's doing a lot of production, and he made time for us, which means he made time for you. So we all collectively say thank you to Randy for sharing that time with us. And also on behalf of Randy and myself, we don't want to forget about you, the listener and or the viewer, because you're the reason we do the show. And we are so grateful that you're here. Our show has actually never been more popular, and I don't think that's because of me. It's because of great guests like Randy. So we appreciate you, Randy, for all of your hard work and your willingness to come on and share how the donuts are made, I guess, as an expression. And you're the first person to ever bring up a Michael J. Fox reference and use the word ameliorate. So I am, we've done 500 episodes. And
Amazing.
Those are two. So anyway, Randy, it was such a pleasure. Please follow
Thank
Randy
you
on
so
TikTok.
much.
Yeah, we are
so much.
This was such a fun time. And anyway, everyone listening, thank you for continuing to support our show. Tell a friend. Think of one other realtor that's struggling right now. Guess what? It's 2023. Almost every realtor is struggling. Give them this sort of send them a link to this episode, because not only is Randy infectious in his energy, but he's also gave a lot of really good tips about how to sort of think about your business more holistically and how to have fun while grinding it out. So send them a link. Our website's keepingitrealpod.com. Every episode can be streamed right from a browser. If the person isn't like a podcast person, just have them go to the website. If they are a podcast person, do a search for Keeping It Real, hit that subscribe button. We're on all channels, and we will appreciate it. And let us know what you think of the show too. Give us a review. Unless it's a bad review, then just keep it to yourself. But if it's no, I'm kidding. Any feedback is good, because we always want to improve. We appreciate the good reviews, and also the ones that tell us what the people are looking for that's different. So let us know. This is your show. This is for you. So let us know. All right, Randy, it was such a pleasure. We will see everybody on the next episode. Thanks, Randy.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.